The Desert Willow is the title, Rethinking Healthcare in Our Golden Years with Wisdom. Do you receive a physical every year? Or perhaps every other year? What if I told you that your life may be gradually being eroded by the very examinations you have grown to depend on? Although it may seem unreal, many people experience it, particularly after the age of 70. Many of these tests are burdens that reduce your quality of life by creating needless worry, unwanted procedures, and financial hardship rather than shields protecting your health. Right now, you must know the truth. 68% of seniors over 70 are receiving tests they don't need, according to a research from the Mayo Clinic of the West, a renowned medical school. This results in incorrect diagnoses and care that isn't suitable. Even more startling is the fact that some tests that are good for younger people might be bad for older people. Our tendency to think that more is better when it comes to healthcare is now a dangerous misunderstanding. You will then know which tests you should confidently refuse and which ones you truly need. You will discover how to invest in your true health and pleasure, redirecting your time and finances away from pointless tests and medications. This has the power to totally alter your life. Your life can be changed by Desert Willow Wisdom, your dependable partner and source of insights that go beyond basic facts. I have no doubt that the narrative you read today will be a significant turning point in your life. Make yourself at ease. Then let's begin. Please subscribe to the channel and give this story a thumbs up if you enjoy it. I took my 83-year-old father to the neighborhood clinic last weekend. They suggested additional testing after his routine examination revealed some somewhat unusual numbers. However, after hearing the doctor's explanation, I came to the conclusion that these tests might not be very helpful for a person his age. Doctor, are all these tests really necessary? I inquired thoughtfully. To be honest, the efficacy of these tests varies with age, he remarked, nodding quietly. We must exercise greater discernment and only place orders for what is actually required. That got me to thinking. How many tests have we taken without question just to fret about the results and even go through needless procedures? The goal of health examinations changes completely, especially around the age of 70. All age groups are often covered by the standard protocols, which results in a system that puts everyone together. Although we are all being measured using the same yardstick, the typical physiological parameters of an individual in their 80s will differ from those of an individual in their 40s. More tests are always better according to our parents' generation, but it's time for us to realize that this is a major fallacy. Allow me to introduce you to Hank Miller, a buddy of mine. A little lesion in his lung was discovered during his complete examination at age 76. He endured numerous examinations and waiting periods over the next 6 months, which devoured him with tension and anxiety. He claimed that unnecessary examinations might harm your psyche more quickly than your body, even if he eventually received a final diagnostic that indicated there was no issue. Now is your chance to determine which screenings are appropriate for you and which you should avoid. Let's start that crucial journey today. We've all heard the term health checkup a lot, but how well do we actually understand it? It's time to start considering what we actually need to focus on for our true well-being. Because these tests, which we take without question because we think they're for our health, can occasionally harm our bodies and minds. You won't believe the stunning nature of the second story. The sheer number of tests does not necessarily indicate that they are beneficial to your health. It can be extremely damaging in certain situations. Because of my 72-year-old Aunt Lucy's experience, I felt this deeply. Her health was a major concern for her. She was regarded as a model patient because she consistently had a thorough examination and diligently adhered to all protocols. One day, however, a blood test she had as usual revealed a small anomaly. Out of anxiousness, she visited several hospitals for accurate examinations when the hospital suggested additional testing. Although there was no issue in the end, the procedure wasn't easy. She underwent an unneeded biopsy, and the biopsy site developed an infection. The balance of bacteria in her digestive tract was damaged by the strong antibiotics she was given to treat the infection. She ultimately experienced intestinal issues for over half a year. Her statement, "The exam made me sick," is still stuck in my memory. These unnecessary diagnoses and treatments are referred to in the medical community as overdiagnosis and overtreatment, and the risk rises with age. This is for valid reasons. First, as people age, their body's parameters alter. It's common for some figures to differ from when you were younger because aging is a natural physiological process. However, it is challenging to apply the majority of screening requirements to the elderly because they are based on young adults. For instance, studies have demonstrated that slightly elevated cholesterol levels really increase survival in those over 70, but we still classify them as ill under the heading of normal range. Second, there are hazards associated with the testing themselves. Additionally, as you age, tests like colonoscopies become riskier. Serious problems such as intestinal perforation are more likely to occur, and research indicates that the risk is 4 times higher for those in their 80s than for those in their 40s. It's important to remember that even seemingly straightforward exams can have a significant effect on an aging body. The third is the adverse drug reactions. During a health examination, my mother's cholesterol level was found to be somewhat higher than normal, leading to the prescription of statins. She initially took them without hesitation, but soon after, she started to feel pain in her muscles, making even basic movements uncomfortable. As it happened, folks her age had no trouble with that level. She eventually quit taking the medication, and her body felt at ease once more. The fourth issue, which we frequently ignore, is the economic one. There are significant expenses associated with further medical exams, prescription drugs, and hospital stays. One of my pals went on needless tests and treatments with all the money he had saved for a year-long trip overseas. His life was taken away, even though it was meant to be for his health. And lastly, psychological stress is the most basic and significant issue. Waiting for test results, worrying about whether a disease is present, and feeling scared when even one number is out of range are all stresses that impair immunity and harm health. The body falls along with the mind as it becomes ill. Treatment for this anxiety may not be as effective as it may be. I'm not suggesting that you should stop obtaining exams after the age of 70, but what tests are actually essential in life? Instead, identifying the health standards that are appropriate for you and carefully choosing only the tests that your body actually requires are the keys to meaningful prevention and recovery. The secret to intelligent senior health management is to spend your attention on enhancing your quality of life rather than wasting it on pointless testing. Isn't that right? Your body changes subtly but steadily as you get older. Listen to your body and pay close attention to the areas that require attention in order to manage these changes in a healthy way. But naively undergoing all the exams won't protect your health. Knowing which exams you require and following them is crucial. The 5 tests I'm going to share with you are crucial to preserving your health as you age. Blood pressure measurement is the first. Unbeknownst to you, high blood pressure can cause heart attacks or strokes without warning. For this reason, I take my father's blood pressure each morning and note it. This routine, which once appeared to be a chore, has evolved into a significant morning ritual. According to my father, I can determine the state of my body simply by examining my blood pressure readings in the morning, and that's how my day begins. The second is a test for diabetes. Diabetes is a serious condition that drastically reduces quality of life in old age and can lead to a number of issues in the body. Fortunately, if caught early enough, it can be adequately controlled with medication and lifestyle modifications. At the age of 75, my neighbor Mr. Smith was diagnosed with diabetes. He walked for half an hour every morning. In less than a year, his blood sugar levels returned to normal without the need for medication. He made a memorable statement. "I've been feeling and sleeping better ever since I started walking. Actually, I had the chance to change my life because of my diabetes." A bone density test is the third. Osteoporosis risk increases significantly, particularly for women who have experienced menopause. Weakened bones are more likely to break quickly, even from small impacts, which can result in life-threatening illnesses or prolonged bed rest. After receiving a diagnosis of osteoporosis at age 67, my mother has been taking vitamin D and calcium pills ever since. She is currently 78 years old and still walks straight and climbs stairs without any issues. Her constancy has turned into a health pillar. Tests of vision and hearing make up the fourth. As you age, it's normal for your senses to gradually deteriorate, but if you ignore these changes, you'll be isolated from the outside world, which can cause despair, loneliness, and even cognitive deterioration. Although my uncle's hearing deteriorated, He initially resisted wearing a hearing aid. "I'm fine, I can still hear," he said. Simply said, "It's frustrating." However, a gloomy expression hovered over his face, and he began to speak less to his family. After wearing a hearing aid for a while, his smile returned, and one by one, the words he had spoken began to resurface. A depression screening test is the sixth. Depressive symptoms in old age are frequently dismissed as a passing mood. After my father died, my mother experienced sleeplessness and was up all night, and her motivation clearly decreased. Her eyes cleared up again after being properly identified with depression by a screening test, counseling, and treatment. Initially, my family believed she was simply growing older. I didn't first think I was depressed. The world began to color again following therapy, but I assumed it was merely a result of growing older. These 5 tests are not limited to diagnosing illnesses. The fact that they are steps toward living a more comfortable and luxurious second part of your life is more significant. Don't take these important tests lightly, but you don't have to take them all. A single standard should not be used to apply health examinations to everyone. A customized strategy that considers the individual's lifestyle, family history, and physical condition is required. At the age of 78, Mr. Johnson, whom I had previously met, said something to me that I can now clearly recall. "I make sure to have those tests because both of my parents passed away from heart disease, but I no longer receive cancer screenings. I am the best judge of what my body's capable of." We need to learn to make better decisions instead of getting rid of more things if we want to age well. That's the wisdom of maintaining true health, isn't it? The family is one of the key elements. If a certain disease has affected a member of your immediate family, your parents, or your siblings, you should screen for it more thoroughly and carefully than you would with a simple checkup. In my instance, I have colonoscopies on a regular basis because someone in my family had colon cancer. However, after realizing that taking every test isn't always beneficial, I carefully explored additional cancer screening options with my doctor, determined whether they were required, and made the necessary adjustments. I came to the conclusion that concentrating on illnesses that would pose a greater risk to me was a more prudent use of my time and efforts. Another crucial aspect of health is lifestyle. For instance, you shouldn't skip lung-related testing if you smoked all your life. Also, you should think about getting screened for skin cancer if you spend a lot of time outside in the sun. For 40 years, my father was a carpenter. Because the body remembers, he continues to receive lung exams despite having spent a lot of time in a dusty atmosphere. Additionally, we frequently overlook the fact that we are currently taking medication. Regular function tests should be performed in conjunction with some medications since they may strain the kidneys or liver. My aunt always undergoes liver function testing every 6 months because she has been taking arthritis medication for a long time. Understanding how a medication is affecting your body is just as crucial as taking it on a daily basis. Since you should ultimately be the one to know your body the best, I believe that having a trustworthy relationship with medical professionals is crucial. I always make a list of questions before I accompany my parents to the hospital. Is this test actually required? What potential dangers come with taking the test? Is this outcome significant enough to alter the treatment plan? What dangers come with ignoring this exam at this age? You can avoid hazy worry and make well-informed decisions if you have these questions prepared beforehand. The majority of doctors make an effort to provide patients with enough information to enable them to make decisions. Organizing and retaining the results is just as crucial as health examinations. For my parents, I maintain a separate health notebook in which I meticulously record all of their test results, prescriptions they are taking, special remarks, etc. It's really helpful when you're consulting at the hospital, and since your memory isn't as good as it used to be as you age, it's highly beneficial to make it a habit to have everything organized so you can quickly check which tests you received and the findings. However, I want to discuss something more important today than health examinations in general. Sometimes a doctor's medication is less effective than the little routines you follow every day. It may seem unbelievable, but studies have indicated that routine health practices have a bigger influence on your quality of life after the age of 70 than routine examinations. Mr. Williams, my neighbor, is on my mind. He is 92 and goes for 3 morning walks in the park. He never misses a day, rain or shine. "Medicine is good, but my legs are better medicine," he informed me one day. I haven't visited the hospital very often since I started walking. I couldn't even begin to express how deeply I felt when I heard that exercise is crucial, especially as you age. Naturally, different people have different ways of moving. If you have trouble moving your joints or muscles, low-impact sports like indoor cycling or swimming are a wonderful substitute. Despite being diagnosed with arthritis at the age of 73, my mother still works out every morning in the water. The most reliable and secure strategy to stay healthy is ultimately to find a method that suits you. Correct. I was initially even scared to move. Since I had no idea when or how bad the pain would be, I became anxious at the first movement. However, I eventually came to the conclusion that being still really made the agony worse. The pain eventually subsided as I gained the confidence to move my body, and exercise started to become a regular part of my life. As time passes, the significance of lifestyle choices becomes increasingly apparent. Consuming protein is something you can't ignore, especially as you age. Muscular mass naturally declines with age, so maintaining muscular mass requires protein supplements. However, things are more complicated in reality. Because their teeth are weak and their digestive systems aren't functioning as well as they once did, many older persons have problems ingesting protein. I try to include soft, easily digested foods like tofu eggs and salmon in my mother's diet because she also has trouble chewing harder things like meat. Additionally, I frequently use foods like beans that are high in vegetable protein. I had no idea that tofu could be used to create so many different and delicious recipes. She no longer has to specifically seek out meat to have a filling supper. The same is true with hydration. You might easily become dehydrated as you age because even the feeling of thirst becomes hazy. I therefore programmed an alarm to remind my father to drink water at certain times. He initially claimed that it was bothersome, but now that he drinks water on a regular basis, his skin is less dry and his constipation has significantly diminished. Although the change is minor, the impact is significant. The importance of sleep for preserving health cannot be overlooked. Establishing a consistent nightly routine can be quite beneficial, especially for older adults who struggle to fall asleep at night. My mother stretches lightly, has a glass of warm milk, and then listens to soft music before going to bed every night at 8 p.m. I'm so appreciative that, at this age, I can fall asleep without medication. Medicine is not as good as my evening ritual. These are heartfelt words of appreciation for her lengthy battle with insomnia and her present tranquility. Above all, we are social creatures. Your body will quickly suffer from a mental illness if loneliness consumes you, regardless of how well you take care of your health. Social isolation is actually just as bad for your health as smoking, according to study. At the age of 77, my mother became a member of the neighborhood choir. She hesitated at first, but as she prepared for shows and sung with new acquaintances, she found fresh life. I feel youthful again when I sing. It's wonderful to share delight, laugh together, and occasionally make errors while still learning from one another. That laughter reminded me of my mother's second childhood. Considering all of these tales, managing one's health after 70 should involve more than merely preventing illness. We understand that it necessitates a comprehensive strategy that takes into account social ties, mental stability, and physical wellness. The wellness program I observed at a senior community serves as a prime illustration. According to the person in charge, participants are asked to record their mood, energy level, pain level, and sleep quality from the previous night in a straightforward diary style as soon as they get up each morning. As a result, they were able to notice even minor changes in their bodily state and became considerably more aware of it. I also tried this approach with my parents. My father initially chuckled and asked, "Why would I keep a diary if I'm not a student?" However, he was the one who reached for the pen first after a few weeks. I am aware of the days when I don't get enough sleep. The issue was with the days I drank coffee. My father gained confidence in his ability to take care of his own health as he was able to comprehend his body and relate it to his lifestyle choices. Therefore, even the smallest action, a shaky cup, or a single line in a diary can have significant meaning in old age, when you need to examine yourself more closely than at any other moment in your life. Every time I drank coffee or watched late, I tossed and turned. Finally, after numerous difficult nights, I began to pay attention to the little cues that my body was giving me. I was surprised to learn that each of these small insights revealed more to me than a costly medical examination. I became aware of how beneficial it was to focus on my own body and thoughts. Your mental and physical well-being cannot be neglected. The secret to effective health management in the hectic and complicated world of today is stress management. At the age of 76, one of my friends began meditation. He initially said that it was difficult to sit motionless and even close his eyes. 5 minutes was too long. I was unable to focus at all since my mind was racing with so many different ideas. The individual who made that statement now spends 20 minutes each day meditating. My body stabilizes as well as I relax, and my blood pressure has significantly decreased. In that special moment, he found serenity again, and he is now using that calm to stabilize his body. Additionally, prevention-oriented health management cannot be overlooked. Regardless of how healthy you appear, danger can always lurk in the shadows. Therefore, many things make old age safer and more comfortable, such as taking care of your teeth and gums, obtaining the right immunizations for illnesses like the flu, pneumonia, and shingles, and thoroughly inspecting your home to minimize falls. We erected strong handrails on the walls and non-slip mats in my folks' bathroom at home. We also adjusted the vivid hues. Experience has now convinced me that these minor adjustments can avert major mishaps. Above all, having a purpose in life is one of the keys to living a long life. Knowing what you're alive for is more important than simply breathing and getting through each day. My mother discovered that purpose in life as well. She began volunteering to read books to kids at a nearby elementary school when she was 73 years old. My mother has fresh life because of the job. When the children hear my stories and respond, it makes me very pleased. I sense that someone still needs me. Those statements were brimming with self-worth and unspoken rewards. Perhaps that activity will give you more strength than any health product and be the key to longevity. What then is the main takeaway from the lengthy tale we told today? It's not that health examinations lose significance as you age. Rather, their significance shifts significantly. If early disease detection and prompt treatment were crucial when you were young, then as you approach the second part of your life, your quality of life becomes more significant than your lifespan. The tale of my buddy Mr. Peterson is a perfect illustration of it. When an anomaly in his colon cancer screening result was discovered one day when he was 88 years old, the medical team suggested colon resection surgery. However, Mr. Peterson made the decision to choose symptom relief above surgery after carefully weighing his priorities and reality. I don't want to lie in a hospital bed for the rest of my life. I would rather live my life doing what I can right now than endure a protracted recuperation period. When I first heard that, I must admit that I was astonished, but I eventually understood his choice. For the next 2 years, he took good care of his illness, spent more time with his grandchildren, and fulfilled a lifelong ambition of his, visiting Seattle. In his own manner, he finished the last chapter of his life, shining brightly rather than enduring agonizing therapy. Ultimately, he demonstrated to us that being well is about having the ability to continue doing the things you love, not just about living longer. According to my mother, being healthy means having the stamina to care for my grandchildren, enjoying gardening, and having the time to chat with an old friend over coffee. Those remarks are brimming with love for life and what health really means. Yes, that is the health we ought to strive for, isn't it? I genuinely hope that the tale of today has given you a fresh outlook. Instead of wasting time, money, and energy on pointless tests or treatments, I hope you'll have the discernment to concentrate on what's really valuable in your life right now.